Hello everybody. Hello people. Good morning. I hope it is a good morning for you. And I have come here today to make it even better, or to make it a little better if it's not as good as you would like it to be. Anyway, my name is Serge, Father Serge, that's my nickname. And yeah, I'm a teacher of English, and today we're gonna learn some English, if you don't mind, of course. And thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. As you can see, we're gonna be learning some good stuff for our English, because you do speak English at your work, right? So American idioms. American idioms, that's our topic today, but it's not only going to be about that. It's also about a little bit of singing, because I love to sing, and well, if you don't, it's okay, no problem. Like, I hope you won't mind listening to that. And yeah, by the way, we have a chat, and I would like to interact with you. So if you write something here, I'm gonna be reading it from time to time, responding to that. And ну, в принципе, да, я буду говорить все время по-русски, хотя по-английски, но хотя по-русски тоже можно, но вы же все понимаете, да? Вы же молодцы, молодцы. So guys, thank you. Please write in the chat, say hello, all right? So I have good morning, sure, good morning people. And I hope you've woken up, and I hope you've had a good night's sleep, by the way. Выспаться по-английски is have a good night's sleep. I hope you have. I hope you have. And yeah, so let's start. Let's start our lesson. Yes, it is going to be a lesson. But before I say anything about the actual content, a few words about myself. Well, I am a teacher of English. That's what I love to do. That's what I do while I'm sleeping. In the morning, in the evening, I've been teaching English for 25 years, and the last 9 years, I guess, I've been teaching here at NIX. So I love you guys. You're a wonderful company, and yeah, happy to be here with you. And I'm actually also a director. I used to be a director of a language school. Now I'm working more on myself, like on my own, and doing online, and that's what I like. If you have any questions, anytime, you're welcome. That's just a little bit of self-presentation. I hope it worked out fine. And yeah, I'm a father. I have 3 children, and the reason why I'm call myself a father, because I like to be the father for my students, because I love my students, even the lazy one and the busy one, you know, the you guys. So today I'm gonna share with you some good content that you can use in work, that you like when you communicate with clients, customers, and well, I don't know, partners, colleagues, and you speak English, and you want to sound good, right? You want to sound emotional, you want to sound to the point, and you want to understand what they are talking about, because Americans, they really like to use idioms, like phrases that you hear, you read, and you don't like, and what the hell? What is that? What does that mean? I don't know this phrase. I know every word in that phrase, but I don't know that phrase. There are thousands of them, and you cannot learn them all, because the best way to learn anything is to read a lot, to watch a lot, to listen a lot, to practice, to live with the language, of course. But a little bit of something that will be useful for you if you want to understand Americans better, if you want to express, hello guys, good morning, if you want to express yourself better. So what you can see on the screen is actually 12 Russian phrases, some words and phrases that you may or may not know how to say that in English. Освоить, выполнить, переписываться, guys. Do you know how to say переписываться? Can you write in the chat, like, how would you say that? These are the phrases that we're going to be learning today. But of course, that's going to be in English, and you will soon understand them all, and you will know them all. We're going to be practicing. And by the way, homework. I'm a teacher, so I love giving homework to people, to students. So yes, I will share some content with you later that you may do at home. But this is what we're going to be learning. And do you know how to say any of them? Ну, как бы вы это сказали по-английски? Можете написать мне в чате? Ну, ручками так слегка. Well, I understand you may be tired and everything, or not feeling very well in the morning, but yeah, so if you do some work, if we communicate, that'll be great. So, do you know how to say that? Переписываться? or уложиться по времени, or ввести меня в курс дела. I think you can say that, but you know, there's this wonderful language called Ranglish. Ranglish. This is the language that everybody speaks. Those who do not know English very well, so they speak Ranglish. Ranglish. It's a mixture. It's a monster. It's a monster, like somewhere between Russian and English. So, ну, когда мы поговорим по-английски, как по-русски, да, переводим калькой, оно понятно, но некрасиво. Вот ввести меня в курс дела, да, ну, можно перевести, well, actually, I don't know how to say that directly. Keep me informed, yeah, keep me in the loop, keep me updated, keep me posted. Keep me posted, that's a good one. To fill on, Veronica, to fill in on, what can I say? Did you learn that from me? I mean, I've been teaching exactly this phrase recently, and it's out there on the internet. Or you're that cool that you actually know this phrase. You're right. You're absolutely right. So, ввести в курс дела, it's fill somebody in on something. That's a complete phrase. But yeah, it's a good one. Yeah. Kudos. Kudos to you. Good job. Ну, в общем, вот это будем сегодня учить, и времени немного, давайте динамичненько по всем пройдемся. The first phrase that I'm going to share with you, and it's a cool one, is learn the ropes of something, or learn the ropes, which directly means изучить, выучить веревки. Well, I don't know, it reminds me of a puppet master, right? The one who pulls the strings and the puppet moves about. So when you control, when you are in control, when you work things, and things work because you work them, right? Because you have the skill. You have the skill to do it. So when you do it, ну, работа спорится, работа подчиняется, она делается, потому что я знаю, как ее делать, я знаю, за какие веревочки тянуть. Yeah? So learn the ropes. It's an idiom because it actually means to learn to do something, learn a skill. Like, I've never used this technology before, but I'm sure I can quickly learn the ropes. This is the phrase. By the way, when we are learning phrases, what is important is to associate them with some context, right? And I believe that you guys, some of you for sure, used to work in some other jobs, in banks, and I don't know, maybe you had your own business or something. And then one day you decided to branch out and actually to start a career in IT, and you had to learn the ropes, right? Like every time you talk about, starting to work in IT, you can say, well, I had to learn the ropes of this new, craft, skill, trade, job. But you don't have to say of something. You can learn the ropes and it's enough. And I don't know, when you start a new project, right? And in this new project, you have to use some new technology. You've never used this technology before, so what do you say? I need to learn the ropes of this technology. Right, this is how you use this phrase. These are the contexts for this phrase, when you are learning, for example, something new. But the thing is that the problem is that when students are learning English phrases, they learn words that they remember with their eyes, and they try to visualize it, and they learn the ropes. Это тоже ранглиш, говорить слова по отдельности. Ну, неправильно, некрасиво. Learn the ropes, это ранглиш. Understand, это вот ранглиш. That's why, if you want to sound good, you have to say, learn the ropes. For example, of, да, если мы продолжаем фразу, learn the ropes of. Learn the ropes of. Ну, вот так оно звучит, хотя пишется, естественно, по-другому, и поэтому их непонятно. Потому что, когда они говорят отдельно слова. Learn the ropes of. А вот получается вот эта абракадабра, которую видите на экране, это вот эта фигня, вот эту фигню они говорят. И если мы не знаем эту фразу, нам тяжело ее иногда даже и словить в контексте. Мы ее не слышим. By the way, this is something that students like to say. Like, I've never heard this phrase before. It's a new one. Like, I don't think that they use it. You know what? Like, the way your brain works, if you don't know it, chances are you won't hear it. Like, And when you've learned it, like you see it everywhere. That's what I heard from my students all the time. Anyway, learn the ropes of, it's me saying, guys, remember the sound. Do not remember words, remember the sound. All right? That's why the podcast that I will share with you later today, it'll be like homework, will be about me, well, saying these phrases and singing them. So I'm gonna sing it, or actually read it first, and then do some chanting. And chant is речевка. And your job is to listen and focus on the sound and just try to remember what it sounds like. То есть глазками смотреть хорошо, но внимание хорошо переключать на звук и слышать не learn the ropes, а learn the ropes. Like one word, learn the ropes. So anyway, I can't use it, but I learn the ropes. I can't choose it, but I learn the ropes. I can't code it, but I learn the ropes. I can't upload it, but I learn the ropes. But I learn the ropes. Well, I hope you understand the context, right? Вот не могу, но научусь. Right? That's the idea. I couldn't use it, but I learned the ropes. I couldn't choose it, but I learned the ropes. I couldn't code it, but I learned the ropes. I couldn't upload it, but I learned the ropes. I learned to learn the ropes. I learned to learn the ropes. Ритм – это прекрасный способ запоминать слова. Что ритм физичен, да? И он входит в вас, вот знание входит вместе с битом. But I learned the ropes, but for you, I believe that you're just laughing or something, that this crazy dude is doing some chanting, it's part of English lesson, but that's what I like to do, because эмоция – это картинка, ассоциация и ритм, да, это прекрасные проводники знания в наше тело, в наше подсознание, потому что то, что у нас в голове, не важно, важно, что у нас в подсознании. Когда мы говорим не из того, что мы знаем, из того, что у нас записано в подсознании, то, что мы чувствуем, и автоматом можем сказать. Okay? That's why what you need to do is you need to listen. I'm going to share with you the sound. You need to listen to me and sing. I don't know, do some singing. But I learn the ropes. Learn, and learn the ropes. Learn, and learn the ropes. Tell me what you think. I don't know, the chat is silent and kind of feeling lonely. I'm feeling lonely, guys. So say a few things. Please interact. Anyway, this is the first phrase. We understood what it means. We did some chanting and singing, learn on the ropes. And then, of course, what we need to do is we need to, well, express our ideas, right? We need to communicate something and to say something using that phrase. And the question is, how long will it take you to learn the ropes of a new programming language, or new framework, or the new technology, whatever it is that you have to do in your job? How long will it take you to learn the ropes of that thing? Or, I don't know, wonderful, Mary, thank you very much. Guys, join Mary, all right? She's singing with me. How about we create a crowd of people singing, all right? I know it's crazy, I understand, but great exercise, thank you. Thank you, Tanya. And our job is to answer this question, like, сколько мне потребуется времени, чтобы освоить технологию, или просто получить достаточное количество знаний по, да? UX tax system, music industry, Barbie doll production, or whatever. You can create your own context, right? And you answer this question. Actually, you can write it in the chat if you want. Learning the ropes of this language, ну или чего-то еще, да, там, of the US tax system or something, Natalie. All right, so don't dance. Don't dance. It's being recorded. You can dance at home, right? Do try it at home, guys. Do try it at home. Learning the ropes of the US tax system will take me, I don't know, a couple of months, I guess, because I used to be an accountant. Это я за вас отвечаю на этот вопрос. То есть ваша задача, когда вы поняли, что означает идиома, да, как-то с ней свыклись на уровне звука, вам легко ее произносить, потому что вы ее послушали, пропели, да, вы ставите ее в какие-то свои рабочие или не очень контексты и выражаете свои смыслы. Это невозможно сделать для всех фраз, их слишком много, а нас слишком мало. Но отдельно хотя бы некоторые можно привести в свою активную речь. Но для этого нужно все-таки соединять с какими-то собственными идеями. Ну, мы имеем в виду, что они изначально есть, эти самые идеи, потому что зачем же тогда язык? No, okay, so try to associate this phrase with a certain idea from your life and say it. And actually say it. А я просто дам вам пример, как бы я ответил. Yeah? And if you want, you can write in the chat. I will comment on that. So, my answer. Learning the ropes of the US tax system could take me a couple of months. Well, not because it's so easy. I think it's not. But because actually I have an education in accounting. So I used to work as an accountant. I used to, of course, it's here in Ukraine and everything, but I've been working with taxes and finance and all that stuff. So I'm not an alien to this field. So I guess learning the ropes of that area, of that field of knowledge would take me, at least basic level, it would take me a couple of months. Yes, I'm absolutely confident I can pull it off. Я не просто говорил какие-то предложения, я вот реально высказывал какую-то важную для меня идею. Вот я хотел с вами поделиться, я это сказал. When you're doing it, when you're putting some idioms in the context and trying to say something, do not make sentences for the sake of the sentences. Ну, так же сказать можно, но я так и говорю. Ну, нет, мы так не разговариваем. Мы говорим, потому что нам важно что-то сказать. Вот найдите, что для вас важно сказать, используя эти фразы, и проговорите в голове, а потом и на работе. Okay, because it is like, I mean, if you don't say it, if you say it some other way, people will still understand it, but you understand you, right? But you won't be cool, all right? You won't be cool. And it's cool to be cool, right? Anyway, I hope it's clear. И если чего непонятно, пишите, я прокомментирую. Но вроде как все объясняю. Next phrase. Up in the air. Up in the air. Нерешенный, неопределенный, зависший в воздухе, да, ну вот еще непонятно, как оно будет. Whether we're going to have this project or not is still up in the air. Whether means то ли. Да? То ли будет, то ли нет, не знаем. Не решено, не определено, подвешено. Yes? Висит в воздухе. This is the phrase that is easy to remember. It's up in the air, but нельзя говорить up in the air. All right? You should say sorry, still up in there. Yes, this is what I wanted to say here. The word still is here because our phrase later that we're going to be using later will be все еще в подвешенном состоянии, все еще не решено, поэтому запоминайте вот такой чудо-звук. Still up, still up, still up in the air, still up, still up, still up in the air. Нести. Потому что звук там все-таки, там буква I, да? Буква I, and it's ste. Не сти, а сте. Ну, ближе к русскому и. И конец слова идет начало следующего. Мы говорим stay up in the air. This is why we have this. This is why we have this. Still up in the air. Remember this sound, okay? Not the words, still up in the air. Не надо так. Still up in the air. Still up, still up, still up in the air. And repeat after me, all right? Or listen. It's still up in the air whether he's joining us or not. It's still up in the air whether she will accept the offer or not. It's still up in the air whether we're going to move office or not. It's still up, it's still up, it's still up in the air. It's still up, it's still up, it's still up in the air. Убейте буквы, слова в этой фразе. Пускай это будет просто набор звуков. Как вы запоминаете название лекарства или дезоксирибонуклеиновая кислота или что еще. Просто набор звуков. И значение одно у всего набора звуков. Вы не обязательно должны осознавать каждое слово. Вот, кстати, чем больше элементов в вашей речи, чем сложнее оперировать вообще речью. Поэтому соединение все в одну кучу помогает говорить быстрее. Right? That's a root or route. Americans like to say route. It's a way to, well, not only happiness, but fluency. It's still up, it's still up, it's still up in the air. It's still up, it's still up, it's still up in the air. Right. And yes, the system is the same. We understand what it means. We listen, we sing, we listen, we learn the sound, lup, 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 lup in the air, and then we express our own ideas. And the question is, are they starting soon? I don't know who they are, but I can imagine. It's still up in the air whether. Whether, то ли. То ли они начинают, то ли нет, но еще не решено. Непонятно. В воздухе. It's still up in the air whether they are starting soon or not. Or whether they are starting or not, right? Is she going to leave us? Still up in the air. Of course, when you're having a dialogue and someone asks a question, you can just say, it's still up, it's still up, it's still up in the air. It's still up in the air. It's still up in the air. Важно, чтобы вы могли сказать эту фразу вот целиком не задумываясь. Right? Like, you just say, it's still up in the air. It's still up in the air. And when somebody asks you that kind of question, you say, I don't know, still up in the air. Still up in the air. You say it this way, still up in the air. Still up in the air. But then, of course, if you want, you can continue and say, it's still up in the air whether I am going to join you or not. Number 4, where are you going to take the test? When are you going to take the test? It's still up in the air whether I'm going to take the test or not. Or will they win the cup? I don't know. It's still up in the air whether they are going to win the cup or not. When will they get back to the office? I don't know. It's still up in the air whether they're going to get back to the office or not. It's still up, it's still up, it's still up in the air. Context here is, well, I don't know, future plans or some future, well, yes, the things that we are going to do. Будет, не будет, likelihood, probability, да, вероятность. Там вот такая вероятность, что не знаю, еще не решено, 50-50. And this is the idea that you have to express at work, right? Вопрос еще не решается, вопрос не решился, вопрос еще в воздухе, неизвестно, будет так или иначе. Еще обсуждаем. It's still up in the air. Like, guys, when I'm talking to, well, you guys, like students of English or IT guys who use English to work, and I'm testing your English, and you're speaking and you're translating from Russian into English, I give you B1. Like very many people are B1 people. But the moment I hear you say something like, still up in the air, I automatically give you B2. Like, this is the phrase that grades you, that gives me a chance to assess your level as B2 level. Of course, there are other factors, but like, но только upperы и advanced могут сказать it's still up in the air. Хотя на самом деле фраза простая, и даже ваш B1 может вам позволить сказать it's still up in the air. I mean to say that you sound cool when you say it's still up in the air, okay? So, are you going to use this phrase? The correct answer is yes. But you can say it's still up in the air. It's okay. I don't mind. No problem. Thank you. But write something in the chat, please. I don't know. Any comments are welcome. The next one. I like it. Deliver the goods. Very easy to remember. Very easy to remember because everyone knows the word deliver and everyone knows the word good. In this case, it's goods, товары. Доставить товары. Кстати, никаких гудов, а еще хуже. Гудов. Goods. Никаких goods не должно быть, people, right? It's goods. Как к, только со звуком, с голосом. Г. И произносим в горле. Не goods, губками так гу-гу-гу, а goods, goods. Два звука у по-английски. У и И это good. The book is good. The book is good, а не book is good. Okay? So anyway, deliver the goods. Доставить товары, но это же идиома, поэтому выполнить взятые на себя обязательства, сделать то, что от меня ожидают. We are very successful as a team. We have always been able to deliver the goods. Deliver the goods. Well, it's easy to remember this one, right? Because the words are not difficult, and deliver the goods. Anyway, repeat after me, and, well, or just listen. If you are weak and tired, deliver the goods. When you're on a diet, deliver the goods. When your team lead is ready, deliver the goods. And if you call him daddy, deliver the goods. Okay, anyway, when your team lead is ready, deliver the goods. Deliver the goods. If you are weak and tired, deliver the goods. When you're on a diet, deliver the goods. Deliver, deliver, deliver the goods. Remember the sound, deliver the goods. Deliver the goods. Are you ready to deliver the goods? And it was hard. It was a very hard process, but actually we managed to deliver the goods. We rallied together as a team and we delivered the goods. The context? Very simple. Success. You talk about success, you say deliver the goods. Успех в работе – это deliver the goods. Либо мы призываем к этому успеху и говорим deliver the goods, come on. Do what they are expecting you to do. Or you just talk about it, I don't know, later, and you say, yeah, we delivered the goods. We delivered the goods. And yeah, answering the question or putting it in some context. Do you know anybody who never fails to deliver the goods? No, человек, который всегда выполняет то, что пообещал, что сказал. Do you know such a person? Would you like to be such a person who never fails to deliver the goods, who always bloody delivered the bloody goods? Huh? Well, I can tell you, ну, вы отвечаете для себя, как в голове, можете написать, но я даю пример, как бы я ответил. And the idea here is that you, in your mind, you associate the phrase deliver the goods with some people, with some context, with some situations, with some ideas that, I don't know, you have to express in your work. So, I do not know people who are perfect in that, but I can say that, well, I've been trying really, really hard to be that kind of person who never fails to deliver the goods. Over the past, let's say, 7 years, I've been working hard just to make sure that I deliver the goods. Like, it doesn't mean I was always successful, no, but 90-something% of the time. Like, if I take on a job, if I have responsibility, what I like to do, what makes me happy and proud of myself is the fact that I delivered the goods. I bloody delivered the goods. And it feels great, right? You know that feeling when you were able to deliver the goods. It's amazing. Associate the phrase with success. Talking about finishing, successfully finishing whatever task, whatever project you have, and say it. Say it at work. Like, guys, we need to work harder to deliver the goods, to keep the customer happy. Deliver the goods. Are you willing to work on your birthday just because you have to deliver the goods? Huh? That's a tricky question. I would say not anymore, but I used to. I think I was okay with working even on my birthday or New Year's Eve or something, just because I have to deliver the goods. Yeah, I did it. Ну или придумайте свои какие-то контексты и deliver the goods, ну, везде можно применять. Wonderful phrase. Переписываться, right? Veronica, thank you. Want to be, I would say, Veronica, the person who delivers the goods, right? I want to be the person, not just person. And who delivers the goods? It's okay, but I would say I want to be the person to always deliver the goods. This is the perfect English. Like you say person and then to. Just, I don't know. Меньше по-русски, больше по-английски. Next phrase, переписываться. Very simple word, email. Very simple word, message. But back and forth, туда-сюда. То есть не просто написать, а именно переписываться туда-сюда. That's a cool one, right? Back and forth. And I'm sure you've never said that. And that's an opportunity for you. So they emailed back and forth all year long. They emailed back and forth, back and forth. And we messaged back and forth for a couple of weeks. So that's the phrase, and back and forth. That's what it sounds like. Back, ka, and forth. back and forth. Нельзя разъединять слова back and forth. Нужно back and forth, back and forth. That's a natural way of saying it, back and forth. I've been messaging with him back and forth. I've been email with him back and forth, back and forth. Email и message — это не единственное, что мы можем делать, back and forth. Yeah, we can walk back and forth. You can, I don't know, share some ideas or argue with someone, yeah? Or exchange arguments back and forth. But the task here is a simple one. It's a back and forth, very simple word. Or actually, it's a word, right? It's a back and forth. And your job is to complete the sentence as many times, these sentences as many times as you can to create something meaningful. And I will do it for you. If you want, you can write in the chat and I will give you feedback. I emailed back and forth. I emailed back and forth, back and forth. I emailed back and forth. When I'm practicing, when I'm learning words and phrases, when I'm saying it, I try to make sure that my mind is thinking about the idea and my body just says this word, this phrase correctly, the right way, without thinking. Я тогда могу употреблять фразу, когда могу ее сказать, не думая. Поэтому, когда я говорю ее и думаю, это полезно, но она не окажется в активной речи. Поэтому я разъединяю, как бы думаю об одном, а тело говорит back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Anyway, I emailed back and forth with my friend about the birthday party. I messaged back and forth with my colleague about, well, there's some teaching materials. I emailed back and forth with my client about the deadline. Whatever, some certain tasks. Message back and forth with my wife about our dog or about our cat, in my case. I emailed back and forth. Я переписывался с кем, о чем. And like, of course, you can just write these sentences, and that's not difficult, but как насчет того, что в понедельник вы так напишете? Because this is how you learn and this is how you make your English better. When you learn something, you take one thing and you use it. It's easy, back and forth. Back and forth, right? I love this one. Usually when people are talking, I mean our people are talking, they say plus-minus. Приблизительно, плюс-минус. Ну, плюс-минус, ну, что одинаково во всех языках. Нет. In English, ну, плюс-минус, ну, 5, ну, плюс-минус, ну, 10, ну, плюс-минус. Give or take, give or take, give or take a few. A few is something that you can say if you want. A few means немного. Добавить немного или убрать немного. Да? Плюс-минус. There were 20 guys at the party. Give or take a few. All right. Good. Good, Nastya. Thank you. I love that approach. Thank you. I love to do that a lot. Actually, I can sit here just singing for you for 1 hour, but that's not what we have to do. So, give or take a few. Плюс-минус парочку. Да, вот такой можно сделать перевод. Ну, было 20 человек, ну, плюс-минус парочку. But it's give or take a few. Give or take. Это вообще, ну, не знаю, будущий президент, не знаю, Северной Кореи. Ну, или немножко грузинский президент. No, I don't know, it's a name, right? Give a take a, give a take a, give a take a few. Give a take a few, take a few, give a take a few. Убивайте слова, пускай это будет звук. Give or take a few. And just learn it as a sound, and it'll be easier for you to use it. Give or take a few говорится после просто числительного. 20, give or take a few. 40, give or take a few. 7, give or take a few. Easy to use, easy to remember. Give or take a few. There were 20 guys. Give or take a few. We saw 40 flies. Give or take a few. We've done 7 tasks. Give or take a few. She's fixed 30 bucks. Give or take a few. Give or take a few, 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 give or take a few, give or take a few, 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 give or take a few, give or take a, give or take a, give or take a few, 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 give or take a, give or take a, give or take a few, few, few. I know it sounds like a kindergarten, I know, but I'm father, your children, come on, guys, we're having fun. It's crazy, I know, but оно же так и лучше запоминается. Ну, может, не все сразу, да? Но что-то ж может и запасть. Give or take a few, 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 give or take a few. All right. So, as simple as that. As simple as that. So, give or take a few. Give or take a few, few, few. And again, every time someone asks you a question, how many? How many? How many? То есть сколько исчислимых вещей, да? Сколько штук? Сколько дней, сколько ночей, сколько вещей, сколько заданий, сколько штук вещей, которые можно посчитать. Да? Любой вопрос how many, ваш ответ 7, give or take a few. 20, give or take a few. Yeah. How many people attended the Nick's party, Nick's birthday party in September? 500, give or take a few? 400, give or take a few? I don't know. How many people are there in your room now? You can answer it and say, I can see 5 people in my room now, give or take a few. And yesterday I saw about 50 cars, give or take a few. And as of now, I have completed about 79 tasks, give or take a few. No, how many days? Well, this issue will take, I don't know, 7 days, give or take a few. Числительное и give or take a few. Если вы в голове держите слова give or take a few, если это слово, звук не живет в вас, и автоматом вы не можете сказать give or take a few, it'll be hard for you to actually say. It'll be passive knowledge. Right? It'll be passive knowledge. So I suggest you do the podcast that I will share with you and listen to me and learn the sound of all these phrases. All right? And just learn to speak like that. Just be cool, give or take a few. And idiom number 6, cut corners. Cut corners means обрезать, отрезать углы, which means kind of нахалтурить. Да? Быстро, экономно, в ущерб качеству. Cut corners, cut corners. They cut corners in everything. That's why it is so cheap. Yeah, sometimes we buy products and we understand, yeah, people who were making this product, they were really cutting some corners. They really decided to cut some corners. And this is something that I do not suggest or recommend that we do, but sometimes people around us do that. And, you know, I've heard, I don't know the reality, guys, this is what I've heard. Some IT guys say, oh my God, Indian guys, IT specialists from India, they really like to cut corners when they're coding, when they're producing some product, right? Cut corners. And that's a wonderful song here. They really cut corners when they built my car. We really cut corners when we drove it far. She really cut corners when she lived her life. I really cut corners when I chose my wife. I really cut corners when I chose my wife. Cut corners, cut. By the way, Americans may sometimes say not cut corners, да? Cut. Я как бы говорю ты в конце, а как бы не говорю. То есть это не ка и не cut, а cut. What? You got it? Ты как бы есть и как бы нет. Cut corners. A wonderful phrase, right? And again, let's talk about cutting corners. And I will tell you what I think, and you can do the same. Cut corners are not ones who deliver the goods. I would say, Natalie, that people who cut corners are not the ones who deliver the goods, right? Exactly. You see, like all these phrases, they are about more or less the same stuff, right? It's about doing things or not doing things. getting things done or not getting things done, and things like that. So people who cut corners, they are not the ones who deliver the goods. And again, после существительного, ну классно, ну вот по-английски это говорить инфинитив. Book to read, person to talk to, yeah, or a place to be. So people to remember, or so people who cut corners are not the ones to deliver the goods. It's okay to say who, it's not a mistake. I'm just saying who — это то, как мы это говорим по-русски. Да? В той или иной степени калька. But if you say to, that sounds English, it sounds not like Russian at all. But anyway, cut corners, like at this point, what you have to do is you need to imagine, or remember, actually remember, yeah, the situation when you bought something that wasn't good. And you understand that people who were making it, who made it, they actually had to cut some corners. Ну вот вот тяп-ляп, по-быстренькому. Тяп-ляп по-быстренькому, cut corners. And talk about it. But I will talk about it in general, just to show you how this phrase can be used. So I believe that people sometimes have to cut corners. And when they do it more or less often, they get used to it and they start liking cutting corners. That's their lifestyle. And they do it because people are lazy, and we all are. And because we're busy and we have many things to do and at the same time. So we have to cut some corners, right? We have to cut some corners. And that's why people do it. And I believe that in IT people would, that's костыль. I think that's what it's called, right? I don't know how to say it in good English, yeah? But that's what my IT guys taught me, that вот я тут сделал костыль. Нет времени писать код на все, вот по-быстренькому, чтобы заработало, yeah? So yes, this is how people cut corners in IT when they create the code that is not perfect. It's just solves it out. Quick fix. That's the phrase. It's a quick fix. So you cut corners when you create a quick fix. It's just something that makes it work here and now, but к чему это приведет впоследствии, еще пока не понятно. That's how. That's how. Yeah, cutting corners is unfortunately a natural part of life. Sometimes we have to do it, but it's important to be able to deliver the goods without cutting corners, right? Yeah, absolutely. Let's return, guys, now to the beginning. Yes. So we've done 6 phrases out of 12 that we have. And do you know them? Do you remember them? Вот первые 6. Yes. Can you go down the list and tell me? Освоить что-то. Learn the ropes. Yes? Нерешенный. Still up in the air. It's still up, it's still up, it's still up in the air. Right? I remember, see, like, because I did this singing, I actually remember the sound. I remember the song. I do not remember the words. Still up, it's still up, it's still. Deliver the goods. Deliver the goods. Back and forth. Email, back and forth. Message, back and forth. Give a take a few, give a take a few. Right? And cut corners. Cut corners. Cut corners. А сколько вы запомнили из 6? 1, 2, 3. Can you write in the chat, please? And Nastya, can we say in this case corners be cut? No. You do not change that. You do not change this idiom. It's cut corners through and through. You can say I have cut corners, I am cutting corners, I will cut corners. Like you can put it in any tense you want, but passive, no. No. You don't do that. Veronica, it's unfortunately so. Unfortunately so. I understand, because sometimes people want everything quickly, right? And you have to choose, вам быстро или качественно, right? That's why we are forced. We have to cut corners, right? So, сколько вы помните из этих 6? Huh? Tell me. And write in the chat. I remember 6. I just did the test. I remember 6, and I remember the sound. I don't just remember the words. So please write. please write to me. And yeah, we still have some time and some more work to do. All right, so let's return to across the board. That's phrase, Mary 5, Natalie 6. Exactly. If you want to learn something, well, actually, look, guys, learning words and phrases are about two things. There are only two things you can do if you want to learn. Thing number one, you need to associate. You need to associate something you're learning with something you already know. Something colorful, emotional, something real life. And sometimes you watch a movie, you hear this phrase in the movie once, but because you like the situation, because it's so colorful and bright and emotional, it just sticks in your mind naturally, and you will remember it for bloody ever, right? Because of the association with the context. Number one. Как-то ассоциировать, соединить то, что вы учите, с тем, что вы знаете. Как? Большой вопрос, но в любом случае association. And number two, of course, repetition. Repetition. You need to say it or read it or write it or hear it several times. Very often, one time is not enough. So if you want to learn, repeat or revise. Veronica, 5, give or take a few. Thank you. That is amazing. I mean, thank you. That's just like, it's so sweet, so nice. Because it's a great pleasure of a teacher to get the knowledge back. You've taught something and they learn it and they return it to you and you feel awesome. Anyway, that's why I'm recording podcasts, for you to be able to listen and remember and revise later. So today in the morning, or tomorrow morning, right? Do it. Revise the phrases, go through them one more time. And then the next morning, and then the next morning, chances are you'll remember at least, well, I don't know, 50%, forever. Anyway, number 7, phrase number 7. Across the board. Board is доска, yeah? Whiteboard, белая доска, на которой пишем. But across the board, как по всей доске. Но на самом деле все без исключения, во всех направлениях, включая всех. That's what it means, across the board. Like, I personally hear this phrase regularly from Americans on YouTube, because I like to, watch YouTube, and across the board is there all the time. And it's a very difficult phrase to use. Maybe you won't use it, but you need to know it in order to understand. When you hear across the board, you should know, это говорится о всех без исключения. О ком-то всех. Или по-всякому, во всех направлениях. И так, без исключения. So we find jobs for people across the board, from chief executives to cleaners. People across the board, для всех людей без исключения. Мы ищем работу. That's what it means, across the board. It's an idiom, right? Вот если email back and forth, это не совсем идиом, это все-таки ближе к фразе, хотя бы вы так не сказали. But across the board, that's definitely an idiom. So, are you going to raise prices across the board? Across the board? Are you going to fire people across the board? Across the board? How are you going to change the rules across the board? How are you going to fix bugs across the board? Across the board? Across the board? Prices across the board. People across the board. Change rules across the board. Bugs across the board. Across the board. And, well, pretty much any action that is done in the company that works for not just one person, but for the whole team, for the whole department, for the whole, I don't know, part of the company or the whole company. Когда что-то для всех, тогда это across the board. So don't say everybody, you say people across the board. Or team leads across the board. This is how you use it. Вот across the board, это типа как all, синоним слова all. But let's talk about some, I don't know, current events. Should we do COVID-19 vaccination across the board or on a voluntary basis? And that's a very important and, philosophical, but still important question to ask and to answer, right? What do you think? Should we vaccinate people across the board? Вот всех без исключения или как бы выборочно, кто захочет? Should we or should we not? What do you think? In my opinion, well, actually, I don't know. To tell the truth, that's a tricky question, but okay, let me share some thoughts. I think that we should not vaccinate people across the board. No, we shouldn't. No, we can't. We have to do it on a voluntary basis. We have to make sure that people, this is something that they want to do. It should be their free choice, all right? And I'm sure that not everybody will agree to do that, okay? So doing it, forcing people to do that and doing it to people across the board, not a good idea. And the second question, should we train company personnel across the board? То есть всех тренировать и across, train, проводить тренинги для всех. Yes, of course. I totally agree that you should train your personnel across the board, because the quality of the work of the company, well, it is made up of the qualities of the work of the people, or everybody who does the job, their job in their place in the company. So everybody is involved in creating the product, all right? And yeah, it may be not a very significant role of a cleaner, but yeah, it's very important. But we should kind of make sure that the person knows how to do it well and does it well, right? So we should train and work and try to improve the work of the personnel across the board. That's how you use it, across the board. No. Yes. And in your head, please think about where you could put it, how you could say it. And if you want to experiment and express an opinion, an idea, write in the chat, I will tell you what I think. Very good phrase, against the clock. На время. Время работает против нас. Мы соревнуемся со временем, мы пытаемся успеть вовремя. Да? We are working against the clock. Русская фраза «это делаю на время». На время. Это не on the time или еще как-то. Вот это именно ранглиш, это on the time. Да? For time. Это ранглиш. А against the clock. Это на время. So you are competing against the clock. We are working against the clock to finish the project. То есть мы стараемся успеть вовремя, закончить проект вовремя. We are working against the clock. You can work against the clock, you can code against the clock, you can, I don't know, run against the clock. Когда что-то мы делаем на время, пытаемся успеть, это against the clock, work against the clock. We worked against the clock to complete the job. I worked against the clock to fix the issue. They worked against the clock to commit the code. She worked against the clock to analyze the tissue. I don't know, just some phrases I threw out there for the sake of the rhyme, obviously, but work against the clock. Work, work, work. Work against the clock. Against the clock. Work against the clock. Work against the clock. Work against the. Work against the. Work against the clock. And my answer to this question, what would happen if you never had to work against the clock in your job? I think that the quality of my work would dramatically decrease. Because when I have to work against the clock, when I have deadlines, and when I have to, well, kind of mobilize, like pull myself together, call up on my courage and my muster motivation and everything. So yeah, it actually brings out the best in me. Having to work against the clock brings out the best in me, and I believe in everybody. So that's a very, very important aspect of work, right? When you have to work against the clock. Work against the clock. And why does your productivity increase when you're working against the clock? Well, I just answered it, right? Your productivity increases because of the panic monster. Do you know the guy? You procrastinate, and then one day this guy, panic monster, comes knocking on your door and he screams, deadline! And yeah, you become a different person and you start working like crazy. Yes, that's what happens when you work against the clock. Work against the clock. So you can see that this can be used anywhere in life, I mean in your work, because this is what your work is all about, right? Your iterations and tasks that you have to do and the client expects it for tomorrow, and you work against the clock pretty much every day. But there may be exceptions, but ну, как бы фраза на каждый день. Work against the clock. And the result of working against the clock is got it fine. And fine does not mean приятно, красиво, вкусно или еще как-то. Это не I'm fine. Fine – это мелко. Вот мелкий шрифт, да, это fine print. When you are reading contracts, yeah, make sure you read the fine print. то, что написано мелким шрифтом. Это cut it fine, это нарезать мелко. Нарезать мелко. То есть тютелька в тютельку уложиться по времени. Maybe you were late. Maybe you had to hurry and you worked against the clock, but you wanted to deliver the goods, so you pulled an all-nighter, for example, работал всю ночь, and you cut it fine. Я успел, уложился по времени. Cut it fine. I cut it fine sending in the last month report. Последнюю минуту успел. I cut it fine. A wonderful phrase, right? Cut it fine. Ну, коты. Коты. Cut it fine. Right? Cut it fine. Cut it fine. Cut it fine. Cut it fine. This is what it should sound like. And cut it fine. Cut it fine. Cut it fine. So, you were working against the clock, but you cut it fine, bro. You have wasted a lot of time, but you cut it fine, bro. You were doing it all night long, but you cut it fine, bro. You were lazing about all day, but you got it fine, bro. Laze about means бездельничать. Be lazy, yeah? You were lazing about all day. Laze about, ничего, слоняться без дела, бездельничать. You were lazing about all day, but you got it fine, bro. Cut it fine, cut it fine, cut it fine, cut it fine, bro. Cut it fine. That's a, well, I don't know, how does it make you feel when you cut it fine? I don't know, it makes me feel like I escaped a disaster, a tragedy or something. Like, yeah, it feels so good. It feels so good when you knew you were gonna be late, but you cut it fine, and it's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing feeling. Cut it fine. So how do you celebrate it when you cut it fine completing a certain task? You know how I celebrate it? I can tell you. Like if it's been like a hard task and I've been working hard to cut it fine, actually to working against the clock, and I was working hard to deliver the goods, and I cut it fine finally, what I do is I just lie and do nothing. I guess I just relax and just look on the ceiling or something, or watch something on YouTube or things like this, but I do nothing. That's the perfect way to have a rest for me, and I believe for many people, for us men, for sure, yes. So that's how I celebrate. I give myself this downtime, zero activity time. That's how I celebrate. Of course, some whiskey, cognac, whatever. Yes, that's just something that is a cherry on top. It's a cherry on top. And what would you give for the ability to always cut it fine completing projects? Well, I think that if I knew that I am capable of that, like I have that superpower to always cut it fine and never be behind the schedule and never fail a deadline, I think that I would be able to charge more. I would actually be able to earn more because I can guarantee that I will meet the deadline. And that's an amazing. So I guess that I could invest some money in it in order to gain that superpower to always cut it fine, completing projects. So yeah, and I don't know anyone who cuts it fine all the time on a regular basis because, by the way, people usually do not do it do not complete certain things, tasks and projects before the deadline, right? It very often happens like right on the deadline. Yes, it's like cross the finish line and you cut it fine, right? That's how it works. When I cut it fine, I feel the biggest victory. Yes, Veronica, thank you. Exactly, I think that the feeling that we have here is not only like we won, but it's a relief that we were not, we did not fail. It's like the feeling of escaping failure and the feeling of relief that you've escaped failure. I think it's a great aspect, a great factor there that makes you feel the way you feel. So it is about victory, but I think it's about relief as well. So, sit on something, which means сидеть на чем-то. Sit on my documents. You hear somewhere, they are sitting on my documents. What do you think? Они сидят на моих документах. Without the context, well, it's hard to understand, right? А американцы понимают сразу. Вот просто фраза понятна сама по себе. а нам без контекста непонятно, потому что вроде как сидят на документах, а может и не сидят. Right? So, ну, морозится — это очень такой свободный перевод, по-английски называется it's a loose translation. It's a very loose translation. Ну вот откладывать ожидаемое действие, да? I gave them, I sent them my complaint. Мою жалобу, да, послал им жалобу. And they've been sitting on it for weeks. И они сидят на моей жалобе уже несколько недель. What does it mean? They are not doing anything about it. Морозятся. Типа, мы ничего не знаем, ничего не делаем, нам ничего не надо. And this is not a very pleasant situation, right? But it happens in life, especially when you have to deal with some officials and some, I don't know, governing bodies of, well, city council, or I don't know, the Ukrainian state bodies and everything. So people sit on documents that we send them, and no, somebody sent in a resume, yeah, and the HR department sits on this resume for several weeks, for example. That's how you that's the situation that you describe there. I mean, that's how you describe the situation, or how you say sit on. All right? These are the examples. These are the examples. I sent him the files, послал ему, да, but he's been sitting on them. He's been sitting on them. He has been means он последнее время это делал. Да? Так. С тех пор по сейчас. He's been sitting on them. We can say he is sitting on them, of course. He is. That's perfectly all right. I gave her my dogs, but she's been sitting on them. Or she is sitting on them. Но ничего не делает. Я дал ей документы, ожидаю действия, результата, а no result. The person does not deliver the goods, right? They gave us a task, but we've been sitting on it. We've been sitting on it, ничего не делаем. Сидим на них. We sent them our CV, but they've been sitting on it, doing nothing. Sitting on it. That's a wonderful phrase, right? And some questions. So when I got it fine, I thought, okay, can we say we have to roll back the last deployed version across the board to prevent the critical issue to appear on production? I would say deployed versions, because you say across the board after plural noun. То есть существительное во множественном числе, я бы сказал. То есть, because across the board это для всех. Значит, а всех должно быть, чтобы их было много. That's why we have to reinstall programs, I don't know, across the board. Or we have to, I don't know, delete files or check files, scan systems across the board. Множественное число across the board. Well, there are other ways to use it, actually. Okay, I'm not teaching you everything that there is about this phrase, but I would say versions across the board. Okay, so Tanya, I hope it answers your question. And sitting on it. How can you help a person deal with a certain task that they have been sitting on for a long time? Like, imagine that you give a person a task and they're just sitting on it. They're sitting on the task. Like, they're not doing anything, just delaying it, postponing it. And, ну как повлиять? Right? What do you do? I don't know. There are several ways, but sometimes it works. Actually, when you confront the person and you show them that you're angry. Yeah, sometimes that's exactly what works. It may not always be appropriate. Of course not. You have to be careful, but sometimes that's exactly what people need, right? A hit in the face, like you, mother. Yeah, and people start moving because people are irrational beings, right? We are governed by emotions, not by rationality. So you give the person the emotion, and you're angry when somebody has been sitting on your task for some time. Yeah, that's what freelancers, I know that freelancers like to do this. So you give them the task, you even sometimes maybe pay something for it, and they're sitting on it. Like, I had a guy once who took like a year to create a program for me that took him actually 1 month. It's like he actually spent like a year sitting on it. And yeah, not a good situation, right? And again, you can easily find context, right? In your life, in your work. Sit on something. Sit on the task. Sit on some file. Sit on some documents. Sit on some request. Sit on a request. Сидеть на просьбе. Откладывать выполнение просьбы. That's what it means. By the way, guys, are you sitting on any tasks now? And, откладывайте на потом. Procrastination, that's what it is about, right? It's about procrastination. It's about time wasted. So, are you? I can tell you, yeah, I am. I have to admit, I have to confess. I have a confession to, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I have a confession to make. I am sitting on some paperwork that I actually have to do for the next company. But I have time, and I have to create some contracts and some paperwork. But I will do it. I will definitely do it soon. So, but I am sitting. But what I need is a friendly push. So if somebody approaches me and says, "Serge, what the heck?" then I will do it like in a day. But because no one is talking to me and they've forgotten about me and these documents, I procrastinate. I do nothing. So I am sitting on some tasks, some paperwork tasks from next company. Right? Are you sitting on any? Oh, let me know. Let me know, guys. One more idiomatic phrasal verb, because фразовые глаголы, да, глагол, состоящий из нескольких слов, they can have direct meaning, like when you say, well, I don't know, look after someone, or I don't know, even look for something, or well, I don't know, look into something, right? Look into something, like research, investigate. It has a direct meaning, right? But fill me in, это же не заполни меня, да? Это как бы введи в курс дела, дай какую-то информацию, чтобы я понимал, что к чему. Я пропустил что-то, I don't know something, okay, so fill me in. The context is actually quite simple. You join the team, you join the project, or you return after some time. You've been away, you've been ill, right? You return and you say, guys, fill me in. Fill me in. I missed something, I don't know something, like fill me in. If you want, you can continue. Вот in – это часть смысла. Fill me in, как ввести меня в курс дела. Просто you can say just fill me in. Fill me in. But if you want to continue and you say object, like fill me in по поводу чего, then you say on. Like, I don't know, on the recent news, and fill me in on what had happened, right? Fill me in on. Fill me in on. Fill me in on. Fill me in on. Like, расскажите мне, введите меня в курс, что там к чему. Fill me in on. Fill me in on. Me in on. Fill me in on. Please fill me in on your current plans. Please fill me in on the state of our plans. Please fill me in on the recent updates. Please fill me in on your interest rates. Interest rates is проценты, да? В банке проценты, депозитные проценты, кредитные. Fill me in on, введите меня в курс, расскажите, что там к чему. Не знаю. Give me this information. Fill me in on. Fill me in on. Right? Make up 3 questions, please, starting with, can you fill me in on и дальше чего? Can you please write at least 1 question in the chat? And I will give you some feedback. I'll tell you what I think. Okay, so that's an easy task. No speech needed here. The context, like I said, yes, you ask people to give you information about something that is important for you and you missed it, or you just don't know. Guys, просветите меня. Да, такой еще отдаленный перевод. Да? So, can you fill me in on, yes, what's been going on here? Can you fill me in on the recent changes? Yes. That's what I would say. Can you fill me in on the details of this agreement? Can you fill me in on some terms, or I don't know, terms of agreement? Oh, fill me in on this or that information, on the grammar, on this grammar rule. Oh yeah, fill me in on the grammar rule. So if you have any question you want to ask, starting with, can you fill me in on, а дальше что? По поводу чего нужно меня ввести в курс дела или как бы рассказать мне, просветить, разъяснить, дать информацию. Please let me know. Please let me know. And the last phrase. the last phrase, guys, for today, number 12. Spur. Это шпора. Такой острый конец. Да? On the spur of the moment. Okay, Tanya, can you fill me in on what the teacher was telling during the... Exactly. So can you fill me in on what the teacher, I would say, said during the lesson? Well, first of all, tell. Мы говорим, как правило, с человеком. Сказать кому. Telling us. Like, can you fill me in on what the teacher was telling us during the lesson? And I wouldn't use, it's continuous here is okay. Like, was telling us, maybe, or just said. Сказал. The teacher said. Can you fill me in on where we are? Oh, yes. Ed, you can say that. Can you fill me? But it's a very general question, okay? But, like, you use it a little bit in a strange way. Like, it sounds like it doesn't give me lots of information. I don't quite understand you. But because there's emotion there, it may even sound ironic to me when you say this. Well, yes. Policy of Nicaragua. I can't, Veronica, I'm sorry, I can't. I have to Google that. By the way, I don't know if you're talking about policy or politics. I don't know. Policy is политика компании, да? Politics is политика как сфера деятельности политиков. It's not the same thing, but no, I can't. That's my answer, but the question is good. Anyway, the last phrase is on the spur of the moment, which means спонтанно, экспромтом, не раздумывая, вот в шпору момента, да, но в острие момента. I don't know how to say this directly, if you translate it directly, but it's an idiom, so it means вот сразу же, тут же, не раздумывая. I came up with the plan on the spur of the moment. On the spur of the moment means, ну вот спонтанно придумал этот план. On the spur of the moment. And Americans don't say moment. I mean, they do, of course, but very often they don't, because they say moment. Получается, что звук «н» и звук «т», они братья, потому что «н» и «т» произносятся с помощью языка, касающегося зубов. «Н», «т», «н», «т». Одна и та же точка, язык, в зубы, «н», «т». But the technology is different, a little bit. The sound is different, but it's «н», «т». And when you say «н», «т» quickly, of course you end up saying «want it». I wanted to help you. Не I wanted to help you. I want it. Поэтому moment. If you had just one opportunity, yes, just one moment to say everything you wanted, would you capture it or just let it slip? You know who that is? Can you guess? Lose yourself, Eminem, right? His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti, he's nervous. But on the surface he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. But he keeps on forgetting when you roll down. The whole crowd goes so loud. He opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. Learn English songs, people. English songs are a great way of learning the language, okay? Like they help you remember words. And when I say sometimes something and I understand, это из Queen, это из Beatles. I know like several hundreds of songs, but look, start with one, okay? Start with one, learn it. It's a wonderful way of remembering phrases. On the spur of the moment. On the spur of the moment, they issued a ban. On the spur of the moment, I came up with a plan. On the spur of the moment, I loaded the gun. On the spur of the moment, decided to run. On the spur of the moment, on the spur of the moment. Well, just some silly song, silly chant from me, but again, in the podcast, you will have a chance to hear it again and maybe get closer to the phrase on the spur of the moment. Это когда, в принципе, или даже как. А дальше подлежащее сказуемое, что мы сделали в тот самый on the spur of the moment. Yes? Сделал то или то. On the spur of the moment. A wonderful phrase. Are you good at making jokes on the spur of the moment? That's a very nice soft skill, guys. Of course, you as IT specialists, you don't have to have that skill, that knack at making jokes on the spur of the moment, but that's a cool one. It's always nice, it's always pleasant to work with people who can do that. Anya, can you fill me in on a new task or the new task, but not new task? A new or the new? Yeah, but little mistake, I'm sorry, just have this professional brain deformation, like what you say, what you write should be perfect. At least you try to make it that way. Anyway, on the spur of the moment, любое действие, которое мы делаем вот так вот, не думая, спонтанно, вот раз и сделали, раз и придумали, раз и сказали, on the spur of the moment. I think that I am not bad at making jokes on the spur of the moment because I've been teaching English for 25 years and it means interacting with people. And yeah, and sometimes you have to come up with a joke. You have to make people laugh. And yeah, you say something that you think might entertain them and you get better at it, right? First your jokes suck, then they suck less and less and less. And one day you understand, oh, you're funny, or at least you can be funny. But yeah, I think I can do that. Can I do it now? No. Can you make important decisions? Oh, that's something I love. I don't know. I love to make, I don't like to think too much, weighing up pros and cons. I like to make important decisions, like completely change my life in a certain aspect. I like to make these decisions on the spur of the moment. Ну, это мои ответы на эти вопросы, да, с фразы on the spur of the moment, как бы контексты для вас. А вы для себя решите, если вам не нужна эта фраза, да, вот не хотите ее говорить, ну, забейте на нее. Screw it if you don't like. But if you're interested, like you see that, yeah, you could use it somewhere in your life, you find context for it, associate it with something, and actually make a choice, make a decision to actually use it. So these are the 12 phrases, 12 idioms. Well, some of them are not really idioms, but 90-something% are. So the phrases are: learn the ropes of something, освоить что-то, да? Up in the air, в подвешенном состоянии еще не решено. It's still up, it's still up, it's still up in the air. Deliver the goods. Делать, что от тебя зависит, или ожидают, точнее. Deliver the goods. Email, back and forth. Message, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. My favorite one, give or take a few, give or take a few. So email back and forth is переписываться, of course. And give or take a few is плюс-минус, приблизительно 5. 7, 8, give or take a few. Cut corners. Ну, схалтурить, да? Экономненько, быстренько и в ущерб качеству. Cut corners. Across the board. Для всех. Без исключения. Под одну гребенку. Yes, maybe. But no. Look, sometimes you can translate things not directly, like give a beautiful literary translation. And it works. But I'm not saying it's like really под одну гребенку. So they're not really equivalents. We use this word differently. But yeah, came up. Ну, в общем, все без исключения. Against the clock. На время. Да, соревнуемся против времени. By the way, play with — это не играть с кем-то. Ну, вернее, это играть с кем-то в своей команде. А играть с оппонентом — это play against. This is the mistake that I hear from my students all the time. We're playing with that team. No, playing with them — это типа playing against them. Но они же оппоненты, мы against them, поэтому against the clock. Мы играем против них, а не with the clock. Got it fine, то есть успеть уложиться вовремя. Sit on something, откладывать, да, действие ожидаемое, сидеть, ничего не делать. По этому поводу, sit on the documents, for example, fill me in on something, ввести в курс дела, and on the spur of the moment, спонтанно, экспромтом, не раздумывая. These are the 12 phrases that we have covered today, and like I said, the podcast will come, you will be able to listen to that, and when you're driving, when you're listening to something, I don't know, and you want to switch to English, you're doing something around the house, you're standing in the queue somewhere, when your ears are not busy, You can keep them busy by listening to me singing or, I don't know, talking and using these idioms, and this will be good practice for you. And now a little test, the little test. But because we've done the first one already, how about the last 6? I know, I understand, guys. I've been talking for 1 hour and 20 minutes now, and there may be a mess in your head, and you have forgotten a lot. I understand, поэтому хорошо повторять. Ну, today it's 12. Сколько из последних 6 вы помните? Все без исключения. Торопиться, успеть работу вовремя, уложиться по времени, откладывать ожидаемое действие, ввести меня в курс дела и спонтанно, долго не раздумывая. How many do you know? I'm giving you correct answers. You do the same, and then you tell me, you give me your result. All right? So, number 1, все без исключения. Across the board, right? Ну, почему-то вот это действие у меня ассоциируется с across the board. I don't know. Across the board. Торопиться, успеть, работу вовремя. Work against the clock, right? You're right, good. Fantastic. You remember? I feel it. I feel it. I know it. You remember. Work against the clock. 3. Cut it fine, right? Cut it fine. Мелко нарезать. Cut it fine. Откладывать. Yeah, sit on something. Sit on something. Sit on the docs. Sit on the files. Sit on the tasks, right? Sit on it. Do not sit on it. Work against the clock to deliver the goods. Got it fine, bro. Fill me in. All right? The next one. Fill me in. Fill me in. Как film. Снимать. And of course the last one is the hardest. On the spur of. On the spur of the moment. On the spur of the moment. How many did you know? I knew 6 out of 6. It's my result. By the way, the good teacher is the one who is a good student. Like, I have to be the best student. I have to learn the things that I'm teaching, right? And sometimes I forget things. That's all right. That's normal. We're humans. And yeah, how about you? You've learned something? So, Veronica, thanks for you. Еще раз. Across the board. Это все без исключения. Это во всех направлениях. Okay, maybe. But our context was множественное число, как people, там, или tasks, files, programs, а потом across the board. То есть вот эти штуки, вот во всем своем множестве, без исключения, мы что-то с ними делаем. Например, reduce prices across the board. То есть нужно, чтобы было prices, то есть их много, и что мы делаем? Reduce и со всеми. Мы это делаем касательно всех прайсов, а не только выборочно какие-то. Да? То есть поэтому не thanks, а именно no. I love the phrases across the board. I'm going to use the phrases across the board. Phrases across the board. Вот так это работает хорошо. Все без исключения. But okay, can you please give me the number, people? Последние 6. What's your result? 6 out of 6? 4 out of 6? 1? Your result must be worse because you must be tired. I'm not. I can go on, but you probably are. So, 5. Mary, that is awesome. Mary, you're a genius. Mary, you are, absolutely. 5 out of 6, and wow. Or you knew them. Like it was hard, it was easy. 6 for now. Tanya, that's unbelievable. It must be hard. Good job. Thank you. So these are the phrases, guys. Learn the ropes, up in the air, deliver the goods, back and forth, email back and forth, give or take a few, cut corners, across the board, against the clock, work against the clock, cut it fine, sit on something, fill me in on something, on the spur of the moment, and so on and so forth. In the podcast, you will hear them in English, in Russian, in a song, and please listen to that. listen to that and learn them. And most importantly, this is what I say to, this is the last thing I will say. That's what I say to my students. Imagine you have a gun, and you take a bullet, and you load the gun, and you sit in the bushes, in the ambush, and you're waiting for the perfect opportunity to shoot that bullet. And voila, and sound cool. Because in this case, it's just a phrase that you try to use. You come to a lesson, you come to a meeting, you come to work, and you say to yourself, like, вот сегодня, вот где-нибудь к месту или не к месту, верну вот эту фразочку, cut it fine. Вот буду ее. And you say. It's like, if you really want to use things, you have to make the decision to deliberately say at least something, at least sometimes. And I have students who can do this, and many cannot. That's natural. But load the gun and wait for the perfect opportunity to say it. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. I've had a wonderful time with you today, and I've learned certain things. Like, the result for me is that I know these phrases even better than before. So thank you for this opportunity, guys. I love you. I love to learn English with you. And we'll be happy to see you next Saturday. And have a happy weekend. Bye-bye.